That ruling by the Court of Appeal that declined to stay a High Court order that had declared the housing levy unconstitutional, and the President reacting to that, saying that they respect the ruling, but they'll come up formulate a law to protect the affordable housing. What are your thoughts on this? Feel free to share that with us here. My social media handle is John_Kago_M. And still staying from the corridors of justice, another blow to the government as the High Court declares that the National Security Council has no mandate to send any troops outside of the country, thereby rendering the deployment of 1,000 officers to Haiti illegal. Details of that and much more. And also need to remind you a bit later, we have a special interview. Our very own John Jacob Curia speaks to the Principal Secretary, that's in the Ministry of Investments and Promotions. They're speaking about the opportunities that lie in the special economic zones. All the details are coming up, so you need to look out for that interview by J.J. Curia. That's it. First things first. This are the highlights. So Easy Friday tonight. Blow to the government as the Court of Appeal orders stoppage of housing levy payroll deductions. No letting go. President William Ruto defends affordable housing despite court ruling against the program. And Mission Impossible? High Court bars Kenya from deploying police officers to Haiti. Many thanks indeed for choosing us tonight. My name is John Kago. The Court of Appeal has ordered the government to stop housing levy deductions until cases filed against the housing project are determined. A three-judge bench dismissed an appeal by the government and upheld another decision by the High Court that the levy was unconstitutional. The Court of Appeal argues that if the stay was granted and the levy was later found unconstitutional, it would lead to complications in refunding the deducted monies.
The Court of Appeal, led by three-judge bench, sided with the High Court's decision that the housing levy was unconstitutional, thereby stopping deductions. The judges, while dismissing the government's appeal, argued that if the stay was granted and the levy was later found unconstitutional, it would lead to complications in refunding the deducted monies. The housing levy was also found to have targeted only those with payslips, a process which the court argued was unfair. The ruling comes as a relief to some Kenyan employees, but a setback for the government's plan to fund affordable housing initiatives. Introduced as part of Finance Act 2023, the housing levy aimed to fund affordable housing by imposing 1.5% levy on Kenyan employees. In its judgment on November 28, 2023, the High Court had declared the housing levy unconstitutional, citing discrimination as the funds are being remitted by Kenyans in formal employment only.
All right, now 19 families were forcefully evicted from the government estate in Changamwe, Mombasa, when a multi-agency team led by the National Housing Corporation demolished their houses this morning. The move puts a stop to a long tussle between the government and the tenants who had hesitated to vacate 84 of the 796 units to pave way for the construction of the first phase of the affordable housing scheme. Our reporter, Juni Karisa, witnessed the locals desperately trying to salvage their belongings before the units were brought down.
As the saying goes, if you can't beat them, then join them. These are the remains of houses of the National Housing Estate here in Changamwe constituency in Mombasa County. At the crack of dawn, the arrival of these machines, a contingent of police officers armed with tear gas and a multi-agency team drawn from KPLC, Mombasa Water and National Housing Corporation was enough signal to the locals to brace themselves for a tumultuous ending. Pleas from the local leadership led by Area Member of Parliament Omar Mwinyi and Area MCA Makogutu fell on deaf ears as excavators leveled down the units, leaving the locals in a state of despair, scampering to salvage their belongings.
Twalia, hatujui tufanye nini. Wengine wetu hata watu hawajaenda skuli. School fees tumelipa 2 weeks ago. Sasa tunabomolewa nyumba. Tuende wapi sisi kama wakazi wa Kenya?
Out of 85 tenants whom we had, 65 of them voluntarily and happily moved out and to the other units which we had developed for them. But we had a few, about 19 of them, who had issues.
One of them, Margaret Kalu, a teacher at Chani Primary School, was left mulling over affordability of the proposed units.
Nitoka kwa 85 nikalipe 15. Nitoka kwa 3 bedroom nenda kwa 2 bedroom. Hivi vitu yote ni vya 3 bedroom. Nenda kwa 2 bedroom naenda kulipa 15,000. Niko na watu wako university. I've got my 3 sons wenye hapo kwa university, mwingine amaliza hana kazi. Baba yuko nyumbani. My husband is sick, alienda India for operations. These are the documents zake. Zenye alienda surgery India. Ni mtu ana recuperate. Bado ni mgonjwa, anaendelea na matibabu. Alafu leo niambie niende nyumba 15,000. Will I manage it? I can't manage it.
For Priscilla Nyabuto, the respite offered by court battles for the mother of one dwindled, but neighbors helped her vacate as she waited for her husband's return from work.
Kwa tunatarajia mwezi wa pili ikifika kosi keti kiamua ndo tutatoka. Ndio maana tumeamka tukapata watu wanapomwa nyumba, tukamwambia sitoje atunge acha vitu zetu ndani. Lakini sasa watu wengi wametoa vitu lakini hawajui mahali wanaenda. Ni hasara kwa sababu vitu mingi zimepomolewa zikawekwa ndani, unakimbia na mtoto kuchukua vitu, umechukua tu vitu muhimu, zingine zote ziko ndani.
Affordable Housing Project Regional Director John Karanja says the government had not been served with any court injunctions against the demolitions.
The court did not find any merit in their case, and they were not granted any of the orders that they asked the court to.
Karanja further advised the remaining lot to be wary of the process and pave way for the gradual construction of 9,000 units on the 58-acre piece of land. Juni Karisambele from Mombasa County.
Of course, the major story tonight coming from the corridors of justice, where the Court of Appeal declined to stay a High Court order that had ruled the housing levy to be unconstitutional. There's plenty of reactions to that, and the sections of Kenyans have reacted to that particular ruling, ordering the government to stop the housing levy deductions until cases filed against the housing project are determined. A Federation of Kenya Employers and Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka are among those who reacted to that particular ruling. Still staying with that, President William Ruto says that his administration will respect the court ruling that halted the housing levy program, but said they will appeal against it. Ruto said the ruling undermines the government's plan for youth employment. He further said that the government is formulating a law to protect the affordable housing project. Take a look.
Moments after the Court of Appeal, led by a 3-judge bench, sided with the High Court's decision that the housing fund was unconstitutional, thereby stopping the deductions, President William Ruto made his position known.
Sisi tumewaambia wale wako kotini, tunaheshimu mahakama na tutaenda kufanya appeal na tutatengeneza sheria ili mambo ya vijana wa Kenya ajira ipatikane.
The president, who is on a 3-day development tour in Meru County, says his administration has put in place deliberate plans to transform the country and will not be derailed.
And the transformation of Kenya has been delayed for many years by vested interest and corruption and people who do not have a plan on how to take Kenya forward.
Further, the head of state assured Kenyans that the government is formulating a law to protect the housing project, which he says will create employment for the youths.
Tutatengeneza sheria ili mambo ya vijana wa Kenya ajira ipatikane. It is the first time in the Republic of Kenya that we have an administration that has a clear, demonstrable, practical plan on how to create job opportunities for the young people of Kenya.
The head of state reiterated that no school head should ask parents of junior secondary school learners for extra monies, as the government had released 7.4 billion shillings to keep learners in class.
Kwa hivyo hakuna mwalimu anaruhusiwa eti kuuliza pesa kutoka kwa wazazi kwa masomo ya junior secondary school.
On his part, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the government has ensured the rampant cases of livestock theft in Meru County is dealt with. Dorina Range for Easy Friday.
All right, then let's look at other stories that's been shaping up today. And Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya coalition leaders now want the national government to transfer the management of all national parks and game reserves to the counties. During a mass registration drive in Taita Taveta County, the leaders, led by Raila Odinga, lamented that counties such as Taita Taveta have lagged in revenue collection as profits from tourism attractions in the region are being channeled to the national government.
Orange Democratic Movement leader Raila Odinga on Friday pitched tent in Taita Taveta County to sustain a week-long mass registration drive at the coastal region. Here, the opposition leader backed Taita Taveta leaders' clarion call to have the Tsavo National Park managed by the county.
Juzi Bwana Ruto alienda kule akasema Kajiado vile vile Amboseli ameweka chini ya usimamizi ya serikali ya Kajiado. Kwa nini iwe yeye anaenda kuweka? Iwe sheria, iko sheria ya kwamba hizi national parks ambazo ziko ndani ya county ziwe chini ya usimamizi ya serikali ya county. Na pesa ambayo inakuja pande ile pesa ambayo inaingia kwenye hazina ya serikali ya county, sio?
The leaders declared that for a long time, their residents have reeled in poverty as revenues collected from the park were being channeled to the national government.
Ile rasilimali Mwenyezi Mungu alotujalia huku, lao itaweza kuwafaa wenyeji wa huku, hapa watu watakuwa mbali sana.
Ni kwa sababu gani watu wa Taita wenyewe hawapati ile share yao ndani ya hii forest yaitwa National Park?
The leaders also vowed to guard the coastal region from political attempts to sway the region away from the Azimio coalition.
Sisi kama wana ODM lazima tuanze kujitayarisha. Lazima tujitayarishe ili wakati wa uchaguzi ujao ukifika, hii county ya Taita Taveta iwe ODM 100%.
Sisi wana ODM hatutaruhusu chama hiki kididimie, kwa sababu chama hiki ndio tegemeo la Wakenya. Tumesema tuwe na hela tusiwe nazo, tutakuja hapa mashinani tukipe chama chetu nguvu.
Institution ya kwanza ni za vyama, ikiwa ODM iko mbele hapo ndani yake. Munanisikia?
They also demanded equal distribution of the national resources irrespective of political affiliations. Giverson Minor, Easy Friday.
Right, and back to the courts. The High Court has halted the decision of the National Security Council to deploy 1,000 police officers to Haiti. Justice Chacha Mwita ruled the decision as unconstitutional, null and void. The government has, however, said it will challenge the verdict at the Court of Appeal. Ruth Wamboi has more details on this.
Milimani Zaikot on Friday blocked the government's plan to deploy national police officers to Haiti to lead a UN-backed multinational mission aimed at restoring peace and security in the Caribbean nation. In his judgment, Justice Chacha Mwita said the decision contravenes Section 240 of the Constitution.
The Council cannot deploy national police service out of the country under Article 247(4)(a) because the mandate of the Council is to deploy forces, that is Kenya Defense Forces, for regional or other international support operations are not national police service.
The judge further prohibited the deployment of police forces to Haiti or any other country.
The order is hereby issued prohibiting deployment of police officers to Haiti or any other country otherwise than in compliance with Part 14 that is sections 107 and 108 of the National Police Service Act.
That way, Alliance Party leader Ekuru Okot and his co-petitioners had argued that deployment of police officers is not envisaged in the Constitution and that the country could not afford to send troops before tackling its own security challenges.
Only a legitimate, democratically elected president can actually make such a request to another country. And we all have had the judge. There's really no reciprocity between us and Haiti.
But in a statement sent to Newsroom's government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura has vowed to appeal the verdict, saying Kenya has an outstanding track record of contributing to peacekeeping missions internationally. It is back to the drawing board for the government, as the court has ruled that the Kenya Defence Forces and the Kenya Army are the ones that can be sent outside the country to provide security, and not the national police officers as fronted by the National Council. Reporting from Milimani Law Court, I'm Ruth Wambui.
All right, thank you so much, Ruth Wambui, for that. And it's on that note we take our first break. We have more news lined up for you, including the recovery of 6 prime properties belonging to the government, valued at over 85 million shillings. Details on that. We have business later, and of course, Karen Kibet has the latest in sports. So stick around. Many thanks for choosing us. Our sign language interpreter is Brian Muraro. We are back in a moment.
Cheza Loto Moto. School fees ya msichana imemalizwa.
Loto Moto. May the Almighty God bless you. Keep on doing the right thing.
Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
Welcome to Sensei Institute. Mahali skills zangu ni pesa mkononi. At Sensei College, practical skills is the definition. Accredited by the government and founded on a Christian background, Sensei College offers all-rounded programs that are tailor-made to enhance your skills and give you the future you desire. We offer courses such as interior design, fashion and design, hairdressing and beauty, hospitality courses, trailer driving and defensive driving, building construction technology, CCTV, solar and electrical installation, photography and video production, electronic courses, vehicle electronics and mechanic courses, agricultural mechanics, ICT, and many more. To enroll in any of our campuses in Nairobi and Nakuru, all you need is your national ID card. Mapema do best. Take advantage of our monthly intake. Come to kusort na skills. Sensei College, my skills, my future.
Across Africa, a new era has begun, connecting us with one purpose: to create and share opportunities to grow. Across our continent, across the world, we are creating a better way to a better future. A Pan-African future. Together. EcoBank. A better way. A better Africa.
Welcome back to Easy Friday. Roads and Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen is calling on the Kenya National Highways Authority to think through how it can toll Kenyan roads to achieve greater road networks for users. The Cabinet Secretary spoke this morning during the launch of the authority's 2023 to 2027 strategic plan, which requires 708.7 billion shillings to implement. Murkomen says the current allocation for the authority, coupled with tough economic times, cannot allow it to realize much success in implementing the strategic plan, hence the need for it to increase the revenue streams.
The Kenya National Highways Authority is looking to spend 708.7 billion shillings in the next 4 years to improve Kenya's road network. To meet the set target, Kenya has been challenged to be innovative and increase its revenue sources.
For Kenya to think through how we shall be able to toll more roads to make sure that we achieve greater road network in the country. I believe that we can toll the road from Athi River to Namanga, that it is possible to toll it and expand and toll it. I believe that it is possible to toll the road from Galeria to Rongai to Ngong and back to Karen Shopping Center. I believe that it's possible to get an investor to expand and toll. I believe also that it is possible for us to expand and toll the road of Kiambu Road. And eventually, inevitably, once we have tolled Mombasa to Malaba, we have no choice but also to toll Corridor C. That is from Muziamil to, is that Corridor C, right? If I'm not wrong, from Muziamil to Moyale, and eventually Corridor D from Sirare to Lodwar.
Currently, Kenyans have to part with 18 shillings per litre of petrol and diesel for the road maintenance levy.
The Kenya Kwanza government recognizes the crucial role of moving people, goods and services to stimulate the economy. This is why the road sector needs greater vibrancy under limited resources.
Murkomen also called for the completion of roads in the northeastern region of the country and the opening up of security roads in northern Kenya to curb cases of banditry and acts of terror.
Once we tarmac those roads, they will not have an opportunity to put IEDs on the roads, and also our security will respond faster. That is what we need to do in the banditry-prone areas.
The authority says it's implemented 70% of its 2021-2023 strategic plan, despite challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic.
And we will focus on 5 key resort areas. Number 1 is to plan and develop roads. Number 2 is road asset management. Number 3 is to have effectiveness and efficiency in all our areas of operation. Number 4 is sustainability. And number 5 is institutional capacity.
We recognize our responsibility for environmental sustainability through the use of eco-friendly construction solutions to construct climate-resilient infrastructure.
The authority is now being challenged to ensure that the blueprint of the strategic plan serves as a guidance tool for the next course of action, as opposed to just being an ornamental document. Yusuf reporting for Easy Friday.
All right, now the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has successfully recovered 6 prime government properties collectively valued at 85 million shillings, which had been unlawfully seized by private individuals in Kakamega Town's Milimani estate. According to the anti-graft watchdog, the illicit collusion involved corrupt land officials, and as Timothy Kipnusu reports, the court has taken decisive action by nullifying the title deeds held by private individuals of the 6 properties.
It will not be business as usual for land grabbers in the country as the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission moves to repossess illegally acquired land. On Friday, the EACC announced recovery of 6 prime government properties, collectively valued at 85 million shillings in Kakamega County.
Any person within this Kakamega area, or indeed any other part of the country, who is holding a title to government land to return the same without the necessity of waiting for the costly litigation process.
The properties are all situated in Milimani Estate in Kakamega Town and include the official residence of the Deputy County Commissioner of Kakamega East.
That most of the lands that belong to the government have been grabbed by private individuals, and they are holding titles, and they can make several other moves with the titles that they are holding. Therefore, I really wish to thank EACC for coming up and being able to recover these plots that belong to the government.
Investigations by the anti-graft regulator revealed that the title deed was registered under a private individual, effectively rendering the government official as quote on government-owned property.
And I have had instances of people visiting the residents and trying to move around, claiming that this land belongs to them. And so it could be true. It is actually true that there are people that were eyeing their plots.
We have cases where senior officials, including governors, are presiding over dens of corruption. That should not happen. Resources are supposed to be prudently utilized so that we serve the people.
Subsequently, the Kakamega Land Registrar has been directed to issue new title deeds in the name of the government. The newly acquired land ownership documents will be handed over to the State Department of Housing, marking a significant step towards rectifying the fraudulent land transactions.
Therefore, we urge EACC to continue and to be able to recover all the plots that have been grabbed so that they revert back to the government.
EACC Head of Corporate Affairs and Communication, Eric Ngobi, says they are also pursuing the reclamation of 20 more unlawfully acquired parcels of land in the prime Milimani area in Kakamega County.
Some corrupt public officials see an opportunity to allocate those properties afresh to new grabbers. So public officials who are facilitating re-grabbing of recovered properties should be warned because they are sabotaging efforts of the government.
EACC has initiated recovery cases for 8 parcels of land, while 12 properties are currently under investigation for subsequent repossession. Timothy Kipnusu for Easy Friday.
All right, then now all Kenyan residents will be required to register as members with the Social Health Insurance Fund within 3 months of implementation. At a media engagement on the Social Health Authority General Regulations ahead of public participation and stakeholder engagements, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha said those currently registered as members of the National Health Insurance Fund will also be required to register fresh with the authority.
Kenyans will have an opportunity to scrutinize the Social Health Authority General Regulations as the government begins public participation and stakeholder engagement exercise. Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha has emphasized that the Social Health Insurance Fund is mandatory for all Kenyans.
Tumesema ni lazima kila Mkenya awe na social health insurance. Hii bima ni lazima. So lazima uwe na minimum na ukitaka kuongezea uongezee.
On the issue of what the court ruled is that we cannot deny people accessing government services as a precondition of them not having been registered or contributed. But registration and contributions are not being suspended by the court.
Those opting for private medical insurance will be compelled to take it as an addition.
Watu wasifikirie ati hii bima ni duni. Hapana. Tumeangalia, tumetengeneza a package ile ambayo tunasema itashughulikia Wakenya wote, itashughulikia yale magonjwa yote ambayo tunaona ya kwamba yako katika nchi hii.
Abolition of the National Health Insurance Fund means members will register afresh with Social Health Insurance Fund. The Ministry of Health says a total of 29 billion shillings claims in NHIF will be transferred to SHIF.
No member who has already paid the NHIF should be asked to pay afresh. Upon registration, I know there are people who pay annually. Then it is for the Transitional Committee and Social Health Authority to see how is it that they convert that payment into share.
NHIF employees will be absorbed under the new scheme with an exception of those linked to mismanagement of the fund.
CEO amenieleza kuna wale wafanyakazi ambao wamesema sisi hatutaki kungoja hii maneno ya kutransition, sisi tuko tayari kwenda nyumbani. So tumejitayarisha, tunatengeneza package yao, ikifika hiyo wakati tuwakabidhi waende nyumbani. Kuna wachache pia ambao hata sasa hivi wako na kesi zinaendelea kama za disciplinary za nini au lazima wajue kwamba chuma chao kimotoni. Kuna wale ambao sasa hawana issue yoyote na pia hatuhitaji skills zao ama expertise zao kwenye SHA. Serikali ni kubwa, ndio inaajiri wafanyakazi wote.
The regulations also propose that each patient will have to seek services from the primary health care level funded by the government before getting a referral to utilize the Chief Fund services, which consist members' contributions at level 4, 5 and 6 hospitals. The Ministry of Health will be engaging the Council of Governors and grassroots health officials and leaders in executing the public forums. Kamchimenza for Easy Friday.
Now, Chief Justice Martha Koome has made a clarion call to the National Lands Commission to uphold the rule of law and restore public trust and confidence in the Commission. In a speech delivered by Justice Mokin Wanjala during the launch of the National Land Commission Investigation and Inquiry Practitioners Guide, the Commissioner was further urged to embrace the guidelines in expediting land cases to reduce case backlog.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the launch of the National Land Commission Investigation and Inquiry Practitioners Guide heralds a new era at the National Lands Commission. Justice Mokin Wanjala, representing the Chief Justice, highlighted the thorny issues in the land sector, calling on the National Lands Commission to use the guideline to streamline services and inspire public trust.
By equipping NLC practitioners with this invaluable resource, we empower them to root out injustice and uphold the rule of law, to resolve disputes efficiently and definitively, to restore trust and confidence in the land governance system, to build a stronger, more equitable future for all Kenyans.
Justice Wanjala further called for expeditious dispensation of land cases as the presiding judge, Environment and Land Division, Oscar Angote, called for proper legislation to streamline the sector.
Let us not sugarcoat the facts. We have a backlog of cases. Thousands of Kenyans wait years, some even decades, for justice to be served. This burden weighs heavily on their lives. It is rightly said that justice delayed is justice denied. Therefore, I believe that this guide will assist in bringing the much-needed hope by reducing the number of land and land-related cases that end up in our courts.
These guidelines should find their way to Parliament because you need regulations, and without regulations, you're going to still have a problem.
Their sentiments were echoed by the chairperson, National Land Commission, Gershon Otachi, among other stakeholders.
Of course, a lot of times, national government, being the big brother, would want to use a bit more muscle against the smaller brothers. So we try to balance that to ensure that as we manage land, both for national and county governments, we ensure that everybody keeps to their lane.
It's also addressing pressing and historical injustice. While pressing and historical present and historical injustice, whether seeking redress for colonial depressions, dispossessions, or present-day land grabs, the guide provides pathway for voicing historical grievances and seeking the resolution.
Structures, methods and procedures necessary for conducting investigations. It identifies the roles and responsibilities of internal and external actors.
The guide, which is anchored on Section 5B of the 4th Schedule of the National Lands Act, is a practical advisory handbook that is to be used by commissioners and technical staff to resolve land disputes and determine valid rights and interests in land. Sarafina Robi for Easy Friday.
All right, now the Republic of India has committed to strengthen bilateral relations with Kenya in various sectors, including agriculture, education, and infrastructure development. Indian High Commissioner to Kenya, Nangia Kampa, notes the cordial relationship between the two nations was further cemented during President William Ruto's visit to the Asian state. Now, the Indian High Commissioner was speaking in Nairobi during celebrations to mark the 75th Republic Day, which commemorates the adoption of the Constitution of India on the 26th of January back in the year 1950.
We have also forwarded cooperation in multiple other areas.
technology, for instance, both sides signed an agreement, an understanding as part of the visit. Space technology is another area. I was mentioning to you, we are doing a lot in the area of space. And again, we are looking at capacity building for Kenya Space Agency and Kenyan space scientists in the area of space. Investments, we're looking at bringing in more Indian investments into Kenya in the manufacturing space, in the healthcare space.
Right, then before we look at the latest in business and latest sports, let's round up news from the counties. Pastor Dorcas Rigathi has called on Kenyans to take up the government initiative of planting 15 billion trees as a way of saving the nation from the harsh climatic conditions. Elsewhere, the diagnosis and treatment of cancer at Kenyatta University Teaching, Research and Referral Hospital got a major boost after the institution acquired an advanced diagnostic machine worth 7 million shillings. This and more in our county news roundup.
Speaking during a tree planting exercise in Kendenge Technical Training Institute in Kuria, East Migori County, Pastor Dorcas cautioned the students against drugs and substance abuse. And Kenyatta University Teaching, Research and Referral Hospital Chief Executive Ahmed Dagane has lauded AstraZeneca for donating an advanced cancer diagnosis machine, which he says will help address the number of cancer patients.
We're having over 40 patients requiring ultrasound services attended to at our radiology department, and about 50 interventional radiology patients being attended to every single week.
Elsewhere, the Samburu County government is set to build more ECD schools in a bid to improve literacy levels in the area.
Tutamap Samburu yote kuhakikisha kuwa kuna distance fulani ambaye tutatuma task force kuangalia kuwa kuna distance fulani lazima ikuwe na ECD.
Meanwhile, Nakuru Senator Tabitha Karanja has called on the Inspector General of Police Japhet Kome to intervene in the ongoing War Memorial Hospital land dispute.
Petition the IG to order the Nakuru County Police, led by the County Police Commandant, to enforce the court order issued on 22nd January 2024 by the judge presiding over the Nakuru Environment and Lands Court regarding the opening of the Nakuru War Memorial Hospital.
Still in Nakuru County, MCAs have distanced themselves from the calls by Nakuru Senator Tabitha Karanja for the impeachment of the Nakuru governor.
MCA, we really wish that we can be given the dignity of a house, a dignity of a member of a county assembly. And if the senator had an issue, he should have come even to the assembly so that we can be able to address her concerns and what she wants us to do.
In Kiambu County, thieves broke into one of the churches in the county, stealing property of unknown value.
Maana waliweza kuchukua socket zote za kanisa na waliweza pia kung'oa mifereji ya maji na tap zote za maji ambazo zingine tulikuwa tumeweka juzi.
Finally, thousands of residents living in slums in Migori County are yet to benefit from improved settlements through the national government in partnership with the World Bank.
We are undertaking tenure regularization, where we'll go through planning and survey, we shall go through the enlisting of beneficiaries, and finally we shall be issuing lease documents to the residents of these settlements.
Kasichana Masha, Easy Friday.
Cheza Loto Moto.
School fees ya mtoto imelipwa, lakini bado tunataka kuendelea throughout.
Loto Moto imekuja kwa maisha yetu when I needed it the most. That is all I can say for now. I'm so grateful. May God bless you.
Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
And if you're there and you have a child possibly who didn't perform as they ought to have performed, both KCPE and KCSE, where I sit as a pastor, I think I had to counsel a few people just to tell them this is not the end of life.
I think it's very important for the parent to try and understand the exact reasons why the child says they do not want the schools. Some reasons may be genuine. Apart from the grades, there are so many other things that you need to work on for you to be able to achieve your full potential in life.
A is not the beginning of life, neither is an E the end of life. Life is an open book, and life is dictated by many factors other than grades.
All right, let's speak business. And government agencies as well as private organizations should prioritize training of data controllers and data processors in their annual work plan in order to enhance protection of personal data. Information Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary, Eliud Owalo, says the massive digitization program that the government is undertaking requires a robust framework to ensure personal data is in the right hands and protected from cybersecurity threats. Wycliffe Okech has more details on this.
And Kisumu welcomes you as well as
Information Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo was at a conference organized by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner to mark this year's International Data Privacy Day. While here, the Cabinet Secretary called on government agencies and private organizations to ensure departments handling private data are well equipped to ensure the safety of private data.
We are not going to stop digitalization because of the level of exposure. What we need to do is to ensure that as we digitalize our services and pursue all the necessary interventions in the marketplace to ensure that we realize our vision of a digitalized Kenyan economy, we have to build around our digital interventions a robust, elaborate risk mitigation framework that would ensure that we minimize exposure to cyber insecurity on one hand, but we also strengthen the policy, legal, and regulatory framework to give us a strong foundation on the basis of which data security and data privacy can be anchored.
Owalo says all data controllers and processors must not only register with the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, but also commit to abide by the set regulations in line with the law.
Data breaches can have serious implications, such as identity theft, financial loss, and reputational damage. Prioritization of data privacy allows organizations to secure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of personal information.
We have a registration system which is online, and you can also file your complaint online.
He reminded members of the public to liaise with the ICT sector working group about laws and regulations they want reviewed.
Look at technologies such as AI, Internet of Things. We are faced with the global challenge of cyber insecurity. We need to think together as a whole sector.
The Office of the Data Protection Commissioner is establishing regional offices across the country, with the CS Owalo officially opening the Kisumu Regional Office on Friday. For Easy Friday from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Well, then, a 2 billion shillings program has been rolled out to promote cultivation and consumption of millet as a substitute to maize. Unilever Kenya Chief Executive Officer Lako Cheng says millet is among grains earmarked for support. This is to boost production and hence also reducing reliance on maize as a staple food.
Kenya produces less than 1 million tons of millet annually, against a demand of 5 million tons. Plans are underway to support its cultivation to increase production to 5 million tons in the next 3 years through promotion of 8 hybrid millet varieties.
Millet, for example, is highly nutritious, it is healthy, and it is low cost to maintain. It doesn't demand a lot of water, and it thrives even in what one would consider to be the harshest environment.
Part of the 2 billion shillings earmarked by Unilever will fund seed production and value addition efforts.
point in time, where we are right now, we want to first of all drive innovation. You know, as you probably heard, millet is not one of the most, should I say, attractive cereals. Yeah, a lot of people look down on it, but it's actually the best there is.
Millet has been backed as an alternative to maize, with the cereal gaining popularity among some of those in urban areas.
Millet has gone from what was called an open crop to a crop of choice. It's now the crop of choice. What is limiting the massive hectareage is the limited amount of certified seed.
This is a good crop that we should be able to bring back to the Kenyan table, to the Kenyan food table, because one, it's very resilient to a lot of things.
Millet is among 6 food crops that have been earmarked for a 50 billion shillings financing from the World Bank in efforts to strengthen Kenya's food systems. Benson Rioba reporting for Easy Friday.
All right, now residents in informal settlements in urban areas targeted for social affordable housing upgrade are demanding opportunities not only to provide labor, but also to be subcontracted to supply some inputs. They are also calling on the government to lower individual units deposits from 10% to 2% and increase the repayment period to accommodate their meager earnings.
14 informal settlements in Nairobi have been earmarked for upgrade under the World Bank-backed Kenya Informal Settlement Improvement Program (KCIP). The project is in line with the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda better goals, with a focus on affordable housing. During a 3-day stakeholder participation in Nairobi County, residents targeted for social affordable housing upgrades called on the government to lower individual unit deposits to accommodate their major earnings.
Itufikirie vile tutakuwa tukilipa. Tukiwekewa tena nini kubwa, tuitishwa pesa mingi, tutapoteza jua tutakuwa. Pengine tupoteze nyumba zetu, tukose pahali ya kuishi, unaona? Na nyumba pengine siende na watu wale wako na pesa.
Wengine tu wanafanya casual work huku kwa mtaa, wengine wanaenda Isili. Si tungeomba tupate mafunzo zaidi na tutembelewe, na tunaomba mradi situpite.
They are further calling on the government to consider them in subcontract offers of supplying some inputs. The Informal Settlement Improvement Program seeks to increase the supply of new housing to 250,000 per annum and the percentage of affordable housing supply from 2% to 50%.
The 10% deposit is it is a bit higher. If it can be reduced to at least 100,000 for 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, it will be better, and then we spread the duration for payment.
The second improvement project is a 5-year project that aims to improve the basic services and large tenure security of residents in informal settlements. It is funded by the government of Kenya and donors and is scheduled to close in 2026. Frederick Moki for Easy Friday.
All right, now this next one is addressed to you, the farmer, and as the planting season approaches, you are being urged to be cautious when buying seeds in agrovets following reported cases of fake seeds in the market. KEFI's acting director for seed certification and plant variety protection, Simon Maina, said all the certified seeds have a sticker with the KEFI's logo with a free service scratch code, which helps in identifying genuine seeds.
Following complaints from farmers in the South Rift region, a team from Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service KEFIS made an inspection in several shopping centers in Kericho County, where 4 individuals were arrested for selling fake seeds.
2 of them were charged at the courts here in Kericho,
and they were fined 100,000 shillings because of the offences. One of them denied the offence and was released on a bond of 400,000 shillings, and there is one who was just arrested and is going to be presented in court tomorrow.
While addressing the press in Kericho, Maina said the South Rift has been experiencing maize leather necrosis disease, and the sale of vaccines will make the disease spread even further.
Every seed packet that is sold in Kenya must have that KEFIS sticker. So farmers are advised, if the seed does not have that KEFIS sticker, they should not buy the seed.
Maina said after inspecting 25 agrovets in Kericho town, Kapkatet, Litein, Kapsoit and Chepsion, 22 of them passed the test, while 3 agrovets were found to have opened the scenes and also selling without mandatory licenses.
There was an agrovet whereby the seller had opened seed. That is a serious offense, because the moment seed is opened and is being weighed out, there is no assurance, because the seal has been removed. There is no assurance of the quality, because they could be selling anything. The other ones, we had persons who are selling seed without the seed seller's license, which is is mandatory.
Edna Murungi, Easy Friday.
Now, fish farmers in Naivasha are set to benefit from increased fish processing following the national government's investment in a 100 million shillings fish processing plant and cold storage facilities in Lake Naivasha. Ministry of Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs Cabinet Secretary says the lake is one among others along the Rift Valley region of the water bodies that could change the face of fisheries in the country.
Fish farming in Kenya employs over 50,000 fish farmers, and a further 100,000 people benefit from the sector that contributes over $40,000 of the national export earnings. The Ministry of Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs now says the government has set aside 100 million shillings as part of interventions by the ministry to stimulate local production.
Tutajenga landing site ya budget ya milioni 100 ambayo itakuwa na chumba ya barafu, chumba ya kusafisha samaki, na tuweke mitambo ya kisasa.
Voria has challenged beach management units to form cooperatives, noting that this would make it easier for them to get funding from the state.
Ni aibu kubwa kwamba tuanze kuagiza samaki kutoka nje. Tunataka samaki wetu tuhakikishe ndio tunaboresha, sasa tuweze kupeleka nchi za nje, sio sisi hati kufanya import ya tilapia.
Locals have welcomed the move and are now calling for more support to curb illegal fishing.
Tunaomba funding tuweze kufanya mambo ya aquaculture kwa hiyo land ambayo tumemisiwa na KWS, tuweze reduce the effort of fishing in Lake Naivasha.
Trevor Ngendo for Easy Friday.
Across Africa, a new era has begun, connecting us with one purpose: to create and share opportunities to grow. Across our continent, across the world, we are creating a better way to a better future. A Pan-African future. Together. EcoBank. A better way. A better Africa.
In the name of Jesus Christ, Mungu anatarajia ukanyange hatua mbele. Wengine wametawaliwa na uchawi, wakati wao umefika. Wewe umenitazama siku ya leo. Neema na kibali cha Bwana
choosing us tonight, even as you continue watching that. Brian Muraru has been a sign language interpreter on behalf of the team called Jackson Beat Leader coming up. My name is John Kago. Good night. So long.
Well, tonight we're speaking to the Principal Secretary of the State Department for Investment, Hassan Abubakar Hassan, and the focus really is on Kenya's investment agenda, not just in the year 2024, but the grand plan moving forward. Thank you very much, PS, for joining us. How are you doing?
Good. And you?
I'm well.
All right.
Nashukuru. Let's begin with, you defining the mandate of the State Department for Investment.
Okay, investment promotion.
Yes.
So this State Department was established under Executive Order number 1 of 2023, and its mandate is basically to implement the National Investment Policy of 2019 and to coordinate the promotion of private investment, whether foreign or domestic, into the Kenyan economy, with an aim of positioning Kenya as a preferred investment destination in Africa. And we are doing this through provision of a competitive business climate. This State Department has been given 5 tools. It has been given the special economic zones, export processing zones, Kenya Development Corporation, Kenya Invest, and Business Reform Transformation Unit as tools to help the State Department in attracting, facilitating, and enabling investment, private investment. Why? It's because we as a country, we have an agenda and we have commitments. The President had made commitments to the Kenyan people, and these commitments needs funding. Yeah, so you can see the public investment of the government resources is stretched and strained, so we need to look for other ways of funding those commitments. And you can see the President is looking for, is coming up with other ways, innovative ways to fund. One is through privatization. The President has just assented to the Privatization Act so that we can ease the privatization of state-owned entities. Another way is through public-private partnership. You can see the Cabinet has just approved the PPP regulation just to strengthen that act so that we can be able to do the PPP deals with transparency and accountability and certainty. And other ways is through private investment directly. And he established the State Department and also operationalized the National Investment Council, which advises him on private investment, on how to increase the level of private investment, it scans the investment environment, it identifies impediments to be removed, and what are the incentives to be created.
Clearly you have a broad mandate, but let's talk about the climate for investment in the country, particularly the year 2023. How would you rate the investment climate in the country?
Very positive. I think it's very friendly, very attractive, very facilitative, and very enabling. And where I come from, people say mtu ajisifu unangoja kusifiwa. So we are looking at independent people who are going to rate us. So far we have received 2 international ratings, one on look back, and the other one on look forward. The look back says that Kenya was number 1 in Africa in terms of startup funding. So you can see their reviews on our look back as far as our investment climate is concerned. And another one is FDI intelligence. The first one was the deals, the Africa big deals, rated Kenya number 1 in terms of startup for the last year. And FDI intelligence has rated Kenya number 1 in Africa and number 3 in the world in terms of the country with the greatest investment momentum. So we are expecting more favorable ratings international from independent people, just to show that we are on the go. Yes.
Take us through the deliberate steps taken by your State Department and the government at large to bring out this favorable ratings that you're talking about in 2023 and the prospects of 2024.
First, for example, when we came in, our job is to continuously engage the private sector so that we can identify what are the pain points here. It's one of our aftercare program for those who have already invested in Kenya. So we engaged them and we came up with issues which featured in our Finance Act 2023, because our interventions are basically threefold. Either it will be a legal intervention through the change of act, or a policy intervention, regulatory, or administrative interventions. So we do our Finance Act 2023 captured most of the issues raised by the private sector. In the transport sector, we have removed taxes if you want to assemble e-mobility vehicles. So that is what we've been doing. For example, in the Special Economic Zone program, we have put a lot of incentives there in the Finance Act for 2023. First, we're now allowing special economic zones to be custom controlled and non-custom controlled. So investors can choose whether they just want to take advantage of the quality infrastructure and they don't want the fiscal incentives, or both. We have also enhanced their market access regionally. We've championed the approval of the EAC policy on special economic zone. Now the people who have set up in the CESA program can access EAC market with ease. We've also championed the market access in the African continental free trade area, really leading to the approval of FSFTA ministerial regulations on SEZ. So if you set up in the SEZ, you can access our market, the Kenyan market, the East African market, and the African market with ease. So those are the things which we have done. We have also, that is as far as the Finance Act is concerned, the cost issues. On the regulatory issues, we have compiled all the regulatory issues. We now have a business amendment bill. It's with the AG, and I think it will go to the cabinet next month. So basically we've done a lot, but most importantly is the global positioning of our country, through the strengthening of our economic diplomacy. The president has been going all over the country just to showcase, to profile what the potential for what the country can do for the investors, and we have received a lot of interest, a lot of investors, a lot of investor leads, and that is why we are saying this year is a year of execution. We want to convert leads to deals.
Interesting. You make a reference severally to SEZs, the special economic zones. Probably even before we get to their contribution to the country's economy and its growth, there are people who don't really figure out the difference between the special economic zones and the EPZs. As the PS in charge, first of all, break to us the difference between SEZs and EPZs.
Both EPZ and ECZ, those are tools given to my state departments to attract private investment. The difference between the two, threefold. One is eligible activities that can happen in the SEZ and what can happen in the EPZ. In the SEZ, they have a bigger scope of activity, economic activity, which can take place, but in EPZ, they are a bit restrictive. It's focusing on manufacturing. The second difference is the fiscal incentives difference. Where the incentive difference. In EPZ, you have tax holiday, for example, for the first 10 years. In SEZ, you have preferential tax treatment. For the first 10 years is 10%. Another difference in incentives is what you've seen the president on Saturday. Those people who operate in the SEZ, they will have a cost of energy, cost of power tariff at 5 shilling for Naivasha, and the other SEZ 10 shilling. But for EPZ, we are still not there. So we are working on how to work on the. So those are the incentives difference. And the third one is on market access. If you set up in an SEZ, you can export 100 and you can sell to the domestic market 100. But if you set up in an EPZ, you can export 100, but set to only sell 20% of what you produce into the domestic. So those are the three fundamental differences between SEZ and EPZ. I know there are a lot of confusion. There's a lot of confusion out there. So what we are doing this year, we are reviewing the Special Economic Zone Act, and we will put EPZ program as part of the scheme, one of the scheme under SEZ umbrella.
Was that why there was public participation ongoing?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So we'll put it now, all of them, they will be called SEZ, but under SEZ you'll be having different schemes. You'll be having an EPZ scheme, you can have a free port zone, you can have a free trade zone, you get. So it will be all of them SEZ, EPZ will be part of the one of the scheme under SEZ.
From the difference you can figure out a deliberate a venture by government to really make SEZs work, and in a major way. What is the contribution, or what are the perspectives of investment, or what does SEZs mean for the country?
It contributes to the economic transformation agenda of this country, because as I had said, and I've always been saying, that we have three economic deficits which we need to address: the saving to investment deficit, the fiscal deficit, and the balance of payment deficit. Focusing on our balance of trade, we have a big deficit. I think our export is only 6 billion, our import is 10 billion. So these are tools which they can be able to attract investments, especially focus on private investment. Because if you look at our KK manifesto, we have impact areas. There's 6 impact areas. Whatever we do, we need to have an impact on the foreign reserves, forex. Whatever we do, we need to have an impact on the cost of living. Or whatever we do, we need to expand our tax base, inclusiveness, increase our exports. So we believe this tool ticks most of the boxes.
The need for Kenya to stamp out the excess imports we're bringing into the country. Is SEZ the silver bullet to ending that over-reliance on imports?
Okay. SEZ or EPZ, they want to bridge that gap by exporting more. Yeah, but the silver bullet on reducing import is by enhancing our production, enhancing our productivity, so that we don't import. Yeah, so that is the silver bullet. We need to be more productive, so that we don't import what we have the capacity or the potential to explore and exploit internally. Yes.
So how do investors benefit from putting their monies into SEZs?
A lot, irresistible incentives. First, you are aware of what the president did on Saturday, the cost tariff, which is 5 shilling in the special economic zone of Naivasha. The other special economy is just 10 shilling. So that is equivalent to maybe $0.2 cents. Yeah, so that there's cost competitiveness issue. But most importantly is that the tax issues. The incentives are on the tax issues. First, it is on the capital, tax on the capital flow. The capital flows without taxes. It flows in without taxes. It flows out with taxes.
Yes. Special economic zones in places like Dubai have quite a significant contribution to the GDP. How are we working or revitalizing SEZs in Kenya to be a significant contributor to the GDP of the country?
We are working on that, but we are starting to rolling it out. You can see now we are operationalizing them. First, we need to gazette this. We need to, because one of the most important challenge, one of the biggest challenges for investors in the industrial space is in the industrial space is they want industrial land. So we need to look for industrial land to gazette. Okay. And that's what we have been doing. You can see the president this year has just directed us to gazette 5 more industrial spaces in Kirinyaga, in Murang'a, in Busia, in Narok, in Uasin Gishu, 5 more.
Interesting. The Kenya Kwanza promise for creation of jobs for the youth. What is the potential of solving the big balloon that is unemployment in Kenya?
Generally, the president has put many programs. Let me start with the first program. He had put affordable housing program, which up to now it has employed over 120,000 people, our youth. So that is one of the programs for job creation. Not only owning a house affordably, but also job creation. And it also helps in expanding our industry. But the second one is on the digital space, the digital jobs, right? The third one is on the exploitation of labor. Yeah, the president has signed many bilateral agreements so that we can export our competent, our very competent labor to the diaspora. But the fourth one is in the industrial space. we have a program where we'll have a county aggregation industrial park in each and every county, so that we can increase those jobs. We enhance agricultural transformation, where whatever farmers are growing, it can be aggregated, but we don't want it to be sold raw. We want a value addition to be added, and we are targeting this big strategic SEZ like Naivasha, Dongo-Kundu and Lapsset. Each zone will have a potential to employ like 100,000 youth.
As the PS for Investments Promotion, what would you want Kenyans to hold you to account for? What is your vision in the year 2024 of what you want to do, as long as you're disposing your mandate under the State Department for Investment Promotion?
Okay, what we need is to be responsive to what the business community, what is the investment community saying. So what we have pointed out that there's a big, people are complaining about the cost of doing business. Yeah, and we've done a paper to the cabinet. The cabinet has just approved for a task force to be created, so that it can develop a business reform action plan focusing on cost of doing business. So that will be my focus for this year. We have already engaged all the private sector associations, KEPSA, the Kenya Association of Manufacture, and all the business associations to come forth and submit what are the cost structures in what cost per unit, or they need to tell us, for me to produce 1 unit of what I'm going to sell, this is my cost structure. However, there are 2 more issues. For example, in terms of licensing, right? In terms of licensing in the county, there are a lot of multiple licenses in different counties. Yeah, and we have put a program to harmonize those licenses and standardize them, so that the investors do not. It's not like they are cherry picking counties. It should be standardized, yeah, and also inter-county sales. So we are seeing how we can harmonize, standardize, and unify their payment. And the third and most important is the investment facilitation. When investors have already expressed interest to invest in a country, they need to be facilitated with ease. Yeah, so we are strengthening our Kenyan Invest, right? We have already changed the law. We have now have a new bill on how to give them the mandate for facilitation and coordination, so that the investor journey, the investors, they have a world-class investor experience in the investor journey. They can see the clear path, the steps taken, and how they can be handheld, so that they can achieve what they want.
Let me take you back a bit, PS, particularly the Saturday, the inauguration of that substation and supposed to power the SEZ in Naivasha. The announcement by the president that the auction of Japanese cars will be happening now in Naivasha. But obviously now that creates another headache, the headache of accommodation, logistics and stuff like that. How are you working with your partner departments in government to deal with the unfolding situation that will unfold if that program kicks off in April?
There is no headache. Investment philosophy 101 is that whenever there is a problem, there is an investment opportunity. So that headache is an investment opportunity for people to tap into. Yeah, because if the people will be coming there, money people, then they will need accommodation. So we are expecting the hotel industry to pick up, right? But most importantly, what is our main goal is how to create jobs for people. So we want the TVETs around that area to be able to skill our youth so that they can be absorbed into that zone or any other zone into this country. Yes.
Finally, a PS from a minority community somewhere in Lamu.
Yes.
How do you feel serving in government? Because in most cases, the perception out there for people serving in government is that it's reserved for the majority and the privileged.
I think we have to give credit to the president. I mean, he told us when he was campaigning that he will have an inclusive government, and that's what he has done. For us as a community, we are very inspired. It's very inspiring to be given such a privilege, which what I can say is that I will not let the president down. He is executing his mandate for the Kenyan people. But the job we have a president who is, this is my first boss who is on top of things, you know, he's a hands-on president. You know, that's the beauty about it. So you keep being challenged each and every day. You know, you just have to think out of the box to get his attention and to tell him this is there's something which he does not know. It's very difficult. Yeah. So it keeps us, you know, he just needs us to become more innovative to see how we're going to solve the problem of Kenyan people, and that's the beauty about it. You know, your mind is always, you know, on the move to see what we can do to solve the problems facing Kenyans.
Thank you very much, PS.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Thank you very much.
PS Hassan Abubakar Hassan, the PS for the State Department for Investments Promotion, and he's taking us inside the grand plan of the Republic of Kenya, really, in terms of investment. That's why we put a cap on the interview tonight. Good night.
School fees ya huyo msichana imemalizwa.
Loto moto. May the Almighty God bless you. Keep on doing the right thing.
Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
Hii uchugu haishi. Ati na dawa moja, unampea dawa 3. Penikila ili hii uchugu ishe. Ikiisha hapa wanararara kidogo. Lakini hata akilala, hata unaona sasa vile analala. Analala hapa. Anakaa akijipedua, sijui ni kama ni kisho ama ni nini. Anakaa akijipedua, sasa nashindwa. Ai. Mungu afadhali. Nimefika mwisho, afadhali uchukue huyu mtoto. Mimi kwa sababu vile umeteseka, ai. Ukashindwa, ai.
Mtu anasikia uchungu lakini anavumilia. Wakati mtoto alitolewa Kenyatta na hajatibiwa. Sasa nilishindwa wakati huo, sababu hata ilikuwa msimu wa kulima. Pia nilipatwa na challenge mpaka nikashindwa kulipa.